The mods I cover in today's video are listed now on screen. Archon is a mod centered around the casting of newly added spells through different wands that need to be bound to already learned spells. Originally, you'll start out with 100 mana, which is displayed beside your hotbar. The mana regeneration is 1 per second, but can be modified with scrolls, catalysts and armor that expand or accelerate your mana storage and regeneration. To craft these new wands, new materials are needed that spawn in small veins spread out in the open world, nether and end. Most items needed can also be traded from villagers with a new wizard profession. Some features I won't mention further include necromancy, with which you can create scales that fight for you, or 4 bosses that can be summoned with a summoning pedestal. The Sorcerer's Guidebook requires Patrikios to work, so it is recommended to be installed alongside this mod if you don't want to suffer while trying to understand everything by yourself. Focus on casting a ton of new spells. Electroblob's Wizardry is probably one of the biggest when it comes to a variety of new spells offered in this mod. Spells are classified into 4 tiers: Novice, Apprentice, Advanced and Master, with higher tiers delivering more powerful spells with higher mana costs. Spellbooks, which are needed to cast spells, can be found throughout the world in structures like wizard towers, library ruins, obelisks or shrines. The new spells are divided into 7 elements: fire, ice, lightning, necromancy, earth, sorcery and healing. Along with spells, new armory and charms are the focus on this mod, offering different effects like reducing spell costs or cooldowns. Electroblob's Wizardry may appear generic because the general premise that applies to half the magic mods ever created, but beneath the surface, this mod executes this premise rather well, which is also why this mod has so many downloads. Iron's Spells and Spellbooks adds, like the last mod, a ton of new spells that can be cast with spellbooks, which can either be found or crafted out of new loot found in 6 newly generated structures. 6 new mobs and 1 boss can also be found within this mod, with the boss being located with a new craftable wayward compass. To get started with this mod, you first need to make a scroll forge, which is used to inscribe spells onto scrolls, which are later inscribed onto spellbooks. Depending on the material used to inscribe spells onto scrolls, a spell will be chosen from one of the 9 categories, including fire, ice, evocation, poison, ender, blood, holy, lightning and void, which includes the strongest, most expensive spells. After obtaining a spell scroll, you can go on to need the spell onto a spellbook in an inscription table. Along with these spells, runes and upgrade orbs are added, which can be used to create and further upgrade armor and weapons. I'll show some of the late game spells now on screen. With these new stunning animations and sound design that come along with this mod, it is no wonder that this mod has over 1 million downloads at the time of this recording. Sadly, the armor textures in this mod are incompatible with Optifine and will be displayed broken if combined. Ars Nouveau lets you create your own spells, using a spellbook that comes in 3 different forms, 4 if you include the creative spellbook. With it, you can choose things like the effect of the spell, augments, and different forms that your spell can adopt. Along with new spell creation, there are rituals, amulets, familiar mechanics, new music discs, mobs, countless blocks, random new stuff that doesn't fit anywhere else, new mechanics, food, armor, other weapons, threads that can be used to upgrade armor, and a ton of glues. The core aspect is obviously the casting of new spells, but it includes incredibly fun stuff besides this aspect. It isn't a wonder that Ars Nouveau is as well known as it is, with over 30 million downloads. It is incredibly fun to play, but can look quite overwhelming when first starting out. Because of that, it is much obliged that this mod comes along with its own manual that is given to you when the game first starts. Witchery is one of the oldest magic mods, being uploaded as early as November 27, 2013. It isn't focused on casting flashy, world-obliterating spells some other mods like to show off. Rather, it introduces a bunch of different paths to choose from, combining elements like voodoo, necromancy, summonings, rituals, familiars, and even vampire transformations. It overhauls villages with guards, a reputation system in new village structures with shops, towers and walls. 2 new dimensions, the Torment and Spirit World, are found within this mod, along with new mobs, a boss and plants. Sadly, it seems that the author finally went outside and touched grass, as the last time online was April 5th, 2016. As a result, the latest version available is 1.7.10. It isn't exactly clear what happened to the author or if this mod is still being worked on, but it does seem extremely unlikely. If any of you seems to know some info about what happened, feel free to comment below. If you still want to play Witchery on any other later versions, there exists a spiritual successor called Enchanted Witchcraft, adding some of the content to a newer version, along with some rework on older features. Centered around this dark magic, Eidolon isn't too focused on casting spells or scrolls as other mods do. Its main focus is on 4 different categories: rituals, alchemy, theurgy, and magical items. Rituals can be cast using the brazier and have some unique functions, for example making villagers forget to hit them, alluring animals towards the center, repelling hostile mobs, setting the time, or curing zombified villagers. Alchemy is an important part of this mod too, allowing players to brew most new materials, which are needed to create magical gear. Theurgy is the practice of praying to the Dark Lord, being able to obtain the unholy symbol in the process. The last notable feature is the magical gears and charms, introduced in this mod. Needing the magical workbench to create most things, the recipes are rather expensive, being able to create new magical armor, new unique weapons and tools, and charms, which improve some stats of your armor and introduce some custom effects. Although development seems to continue in the author's Discord, as of September 2022, the author officially announced that Eidolon is no longer being worked on, so there remains little hope for future updates. In comparison, a relatively small mod, Tomes, adds 3 tomes that can be crafted out of different hearts, which have a small chance of dropping when killing different mobs. These 3 tomes can be infused with 9 different enchantments per tome, 5 of them are active while 4 are passive. These different tomes are named the Archaic, Living and Cursed Tome, which can cast their respective spells, not being able to cast spells from different groups. The activated spells, so to say, don't consume any mana or other resources like that, but will have a cooldown after the enchantments are activated. Besides the main attraction, the enchantments, a goblet and a charm were added in newer versions, with the charm being able to cut the cooldown of spellcasting in half, while the goblet is used to create 3 rituals, the first one giving absorption 3 for 5 minutes, the second giving resistance 2, fire fist and strength 2 for 10 minutes, and the last one summoning a new boss monster, the Witch of Contingency, which has 2 phases and drops these enchantments and a charm. However, enchantments can also be obtained by enchanting these tomes in an enchantment table. As one of the bigger mods in this list, Mana on Artifice allows the player to cast powerful spells, perform rituals, create unique minions, or ally yourself to one out of 4 factions: the Fae, Demons, Undead, or Ancient Wizards. As one of the most useful mechanics, the Oculus guides the player through the tiers by completing different tasks. In a newer version, 5 bosses and 2 new faction mobs have also been added, along with 30 new spell components. The art of enchanting has been overhauled by being able to choose which enchantment you are able to get, on the downside of needing more components to enchant your tools. Most new ingredients of magical rituals can be found in various new structures, scattered all around your Minecraft world. If you're feeling lost or overwhelmed by all the content this mod adds, the guidebook can help the player quickly adapt to the mod's new content. As the official spiritual successor made by the same author as Ars Nouveau 2, you can better be sure that this mod has some stunning animations and textures. Although it's a little hard to get to know all its content at once, it's rewarding and definitely makes for a great magic mod to play with. Yeah, so these were all the mods for this video. I hope that I didn't miss anything that could make you go, oh man, you totally forgot this or that. But if I nonetheless did miss anything, please let me know in the comments that my knowledge is as poor as your brain. So anyway, thanks for watching, see you next time, and no matter what life throws at you, I wish you all the best in the meantime.